Hello, this is Truth Be Told Transformation, and I'm Bonnie Burkert, here to share tools for transformation, to live your highest truth. So one thing that's true for me is that I am very curious about life beyond our planet. I don't know that much about it. I don't know how I feel. Haven't had any experiences, even though, truth be told, our parents' show, my sister's show with Tony Sweet, has had so many experts on it. So today, I'm very privileged to have a guest to come on and talk to us about her experience with extraterrestrials and really how it's broadened her scope on the energies and possibilities for our planet. All right. Debbie, you were here for us. Debbie Solaris, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Well, we got turned on to Debbie because she's going to be at Disclosure Fest in June here in the Los Angeles area. So thank you, and I look forward to learning more about what all you're doing, and then what we may expect of your appearance there as well. Yeah,
totally. So I got hooked up with Disclosure Fest through a friend of mine named Tony Ghazi, who was actually originally one of my clients. I did galactic Akashic readings for a number of years, and Tony came on the forefront and connected me with Adrian, and Adrian was like, "Oh yeah, we'd love to have you." So I was like, "Okay," So it was kind of I wouldn't say totally last minute, but it was. Happened, pretty quickly, and I'm excited to be part of the whole Disclosure Fest community this June. But getting to basically who I am and what I do, I am a extraterrestrial contactee. So I actually had contact with extraterrestrials back in 2012. Which started me on this journey of doing this galactic historian type of work. I'm also a galactic Akashic reader. I've been doing thousands of Akashic readings for clients all around the world since 2014, and just been privileged to really connect with so many amazing people through doing that work and seeing some real activations there. So that's basically me in a nutshell. I also do starseed coaching, starseed enrichment trainings. I offer a galactic Akashic reading course once a year for people that might be interested in learning what to do what I do. And I also present where I'm asked, So I present at events like Disclosure Fest and Conscious Life Expo, that's also in the LA area, and other events as well.
Well, it's great. And I mean, I think that there are many people that have had experiences of extraterrestrial nature. Maybe they don't know for sure. And what to do with that experience.
Totally.
Because I remember as a kid reading the book Contact. Or no, wait. What was it called? Was it Contact? Anyway, Whitley Strieber's book. Sorry. Help me out, Tony. Tony's in the studio with me and maybe know. And it was scary, right? So I have an association with fear around contact from an ET. Can you please tell us about your experience back in 2012, which, by the way, was quite the pivotal year, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a pivotal year for, I think, a lot of us. But yeah. Actually, it's interesting that a lot of people associate extraterrestrials with fear, because I think we've been conditioned to do that in our society. Like, don't trust anything that you don't know about, or that's not, native to Earth kind of thing. And actually, and I think a lot of it comes from the ufology, concept of gray aliens and reptilians and, all these scary extraterrestrial beings that, a lot of us hear more about, because these are the beings that are actually, they're abducting people, and doing scary things to them. But the experience I had was very different. It was not scary at all. It was actually probably the most amazing experience I've ever had in my life. And I actually went through a period of depression after I had my two extraterrestrial contact experiences, because it's just so amazing to be around those beings. But going back to my story, I actually wasn't very interested in extraterrestrials for most of my life. I was raised in a military family. We traveled, throughout the world due to my father's career, and because of that, I also joined the military. I'm a Navy veteran. I was in the military for 6 years. I served as a hospital corpsman, and I specialized in environmental health. And that's basically the work I did after I got out of the military. So I had a very ordinary background, and I never considered myself to be psychic or have any, special abilities. I was just living my life, doing what most, I guess, people do in third dimensional reality. Things changed for me dramatically in 2012. I had some exposure to UFOs, at least through my husband's interest in them. Back then we were still dating, and he had an interest in the paranormal, and he would read UFO magazines and stories about extraterrestrials and abductions and things like that. And so I got a little bit of exposure through his interest, but even then I was still pretty skeptical. I didn't believe aliens and UFOs existed. But one day I think in a way that exposure kind of expanded my consciousness, even somewhat, to, I guess, entertain the possibility that these beings might exist. So one day I was having a sleepless night. I was in bed, couldn't go to sleep. And I was worried about the planet because there was a lot going on in 2012. Everybody was talking about the Mayan calendar, and that was ending. And there was a big election in the United States. And, there's a lot of things going on. And I was concerned that the planet was going down a very dark path. So I sent out this earnest prayer to the universe, asking for divine assistance for planet Earth. And I directed my prayer to mainly, I would say, higher dimensional beings like angels, Mother Mary, Jesus, the ascended masters. And then at the last minute, I decided to include galactic brothers and sisters. I didn't even know if they existed, but I just threw them in there. And I said this prayer, and it was good. And the next day, I went back to work. Nothing unusual happened. 2 weeks later, I went to bed as normal, and when I came back into consciousness, I was in some sort of different reality, way, way, way beyond a dream. This reality was so real that I just couldn't call it a dream. It was, just the details were very sharp. Everything seemed like a hyper reality where the colors were more brilliant, the details were more sharper. And so I knew that something interesting was going on, and I was looking around, and it looked like I was in the interior of an extraterrestrial starship. And I do think that maybe my physical body wasn't on board the ship, but my consciousness was. Although when I looked at myself in the ship, I looked at my hands, I looked like myself. I looked like I had, still had a human form, but the ship was amazing. I've never seen technology like that. It wasn't metallic. It was kind of this, I don't know what you'd call it, like a light plasma type material, because it was very organic. And the ship had a sense of a sentience because it was directing me towards some sort of a space, and I just kind of followed along. And then I went into this large room, and within this room, there was 4 or 5 extraterrestrial beings. And I knew they were extraterrestrial because I've never seen beings that look like that. They certainly didn't look like Earth humans. They had a humanoid shape, some humanoid features, but definitely did look like aliens. I mean, they had larger heads, slightly larger eyes, but I could tell right away they weren't gray aliens. A lot of us have seen what gray aliens look like through, I would say, popular ufology, and these beings did not look like that. They had more refined features. They had brilliant auras. I've never seen auras like this, where there's multiple colors in their auras. It was hard to actually, for me to look at them directly.
Wow.
And so I was thinking of questions to ask them, and I was thinking, do they even understand English? What should I ask them? Where am I? What is this? And as I was asking these questions in my head, they were answering my questions telepathically. It was the most amazing thing I've ever experienced, where I didn't even have to finish the question in my head. They were already answering it. And obviously we were able to communicate through telepathy. And people ask me all the time, were you afraid? Because these beings were, aliens. And I said, no, I wasn't afraid at all, because they just emit this love energy, this love and acceptance. And you can't help but feel really comfortable around that kind of energy. And so I was asking them a lot of questions about just the state of the planet. Why are things the way they are on Earth? Why are things so crappy here?
Yeah, sure.
And they answered my questions very patiently. And I think I was asking them quite a bit of questions. First of all, I did ask them, who were they? Because I didn't know. I never seen beings like this. And they told me they were Arcturians from a star system called Arcturus that was located in the Bodas constellation. And as they were explaining to me where they were from, they were showing me imagery within this holographic sphere that was within the room that made me feel like I was actually there. It was really the most amazing technology. Just the technology on board the ship was amazing. I've never seen anything like it, even in sci-fi movies. So I was asking them questions, and they told me, about how the third dimension is an illusion, and that a lot of the things that we are so attached to here on Earth, such as religion, government, our societal structures, was all man-made constructs. They weren't real. And they even answered some more personal questions about my family lineage. And I asked them also, why me? Because I'm not anyone special. I'm just an ordinary human person. And they said, actually, you're part of our soul family. Your soul originated from Arcturus. You're here on a mission, but you've forgotten your mission, so we're here to remind you. And they also told me that they did hear my prayer, which was amazing, because I just sent it out. I was, I didn't even think there was anything, extraordinary about it, but these are how in tune these beings are, with frequency. And they did show me around the starship. I saw several different types of rooms. I saw what I think was the control room and other rooms. And then they let me wander by myself for a while, and I was able to see that the ship was very large, probably a city-sized. It had hundreds of extraterrestrial beings, many of different types of species. So they weren't all Arcturian. They were different species of mostly humanoid-looking beings, but there was a few that weren't. And I did have interactions with some of these beings. And then when I came to, I was back in my bed. And I knew at that point, when I woke up from that experience, which I believe was an out-of-body experience, I knew that my life had changed. I knew that things were never going to be the same. I went from being completely asleep to completely awakened. Soon after that experience, I did notice that I was starting to get downloads of galactic information, mostly about the astronomy of our galaxy and extraterrestrial star races and their history. And to be quite honest, I thought I was going crazy. I didn't think, that I never knew where this information come from because I didn't learn about it in school, never read anything about it. So I started taking a lot of spiritual classes and also started doing my own research, online and through books, trying to figure out what the heck was happening to me and why was I getting this information, which ultimately led me to doing galactic Akashic readings. So I started taking these spiritual classes locally here in Colorado. I'm located just south of Denver. And I started taking Reiki courses at the time. And my Reiki teacher also taught Akashic reading courses. And that was my first exposure to the Akashic records, even though I think I was already getting downloads from the records. I just didn't know it. But that's when I started doing Akashic readings soon after I did her trainings, and been on this amazing journey ever since. The other thing that was happening to me too was my extrasensory perception completely expanded. I was, in addition to getting those downloads, I was seeing UFOs all the time. I was going into interdimensional travels, into alternate dimensions, just kind of spontaneously. Was able to see auras around things. I still see auras around people and things. And I was just starting to learn how to navigate frequency, which was probably one of the most amazing things that came out of this whole experience. I did have a second extraterrestrial contact experience. The first one was in May of 2012. Second one was in December 2012. Very similar scenario on board the same ship, except instead of interacting with the Arcturians, I was interacting with beings who said they were Pleiadians from Pleiades. And it was a man and a woman from the Pleiades that was basically giving me some information that was a little more personal in nature regarding individuals that were close to me. But that wasn't as long of a visit. And then, kind of the same thing happened. I woke up, I was back in my bed. So that was pretty much my story in a nutshell. It's just, it was, when you have something like that, it's almost similar to an NDE where you are exposed to higher dimensional frequencies and it activates something. It changes you, expands your consciousness. It changes you even probably on a molecular level where, you're not the same after that. I wish I could say that my life was hunky-dory after all that, but it wasn't. I went through the dark night of the soul. I went through a period of depression and went through a lot of ups and downs, but
I think that's it was
all worth it.
Yeah. Okay. That's interesting. And I'm going to come back to that because, again, we're here to share tools for transformation, and transformation
Absolutely.
can come in different forms, Debbie. And thank you for sharing that. I mean, it's really, what a story, what an experience for you. And I love the beauty in it. I mean, I was very much with you as you were going through the experience of being in that ship. And I loved that it wasn't scary, that it was absolutely illuminating. And what a blessing. So one of the quick questions I'm going to ask, and this may be a bit mundane, but what did your husband say, or then partner? Well, how was that for him? Because here's somebody that has been on, a seeker, and then his beloved suddenly is there and in it. So what was that like for your relationship?
Yeah, a lot of people, you'll be surprised at how many people ask me that question about Terry, my husband. Yeah, because he's definitely a part of the catalyst of the story. I mean, at least I consider him to be a catalyst.
I think so, yeah.
He, at first, obviously he was the first person I told after I had that experience because, he was the UFO dude, so... So I couldn't wait to tell him what happened. And at first he didn't believe me. He thought I was having some crazy dream.
A dream, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, okay, you're just having a weird dream. I said, no, it wasn't a dream. It was something changed. And I think now he totally, believes that something extraordinary happened because he saw me change. He saw, I guess, my personality or, my interests change dramatically, that, and my abilities also changed, so I think just through a period of time, he started noticing that, okay, Debbie's not the same person, she's totally
Amazing.
went in this different trajectory. But no, I am very thankful to him. I feel like almost like he and I had some sort of soul contract, like he was supposed to remind me but
Right.
he's on his own spiritual journey. I'm very fortunate to be with somebody that is very awakened to what's going on in the planet. And I mean, he's been just a really great support, throughout the last few years.
Incredible. So tell us, I mean, you described the high, but I am going to ask you a little bit about the lows, just because there might be some listeners out there that have had similar experiences, a certain awakening, whether it was, a starship experience or something else, it could be a physical high. You've managed to accomplish a goal. Perhaps it's a hike or a trip that you've taken that was really just life-changing. And yet, what's the proverb? Before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. Mm-hmm. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water.
Carry water. Yeah, exactly.
So so tell us what it was like for you. What were you integrating? And it was kind of like, I don't want to be doing this 3D anymore. What?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's kind of similar to an NDE. And as a matter of fact, some of the NDE groups in Denver invited me on some of their panels to compare like my story to somebody that went through a near-death experience. And there's a lot of similarities because all of a sudden you're thrust into this alternate reality and you're exposed to higher dimensions and higher frequencies. And so when you come out of that, just much like an NDE, you go through a period of depression because you're exposed to these higher frequencies, these really, just expanded energies. And then you're back in womp, womp, womp in the 3D, So I remember after that happened, obviously I wanted to go back on the starship. Obviously that only happened once. And then I remember every single day I was commuting to work from Castle Rock to Colorado Springs because I still worked in Colorado Springs, which is south of Denver. And I was crying every single morning. Every single morning I was crying. I didn't want to be here. I want to be back on the ship. Went through the dark night of the soul, just basically went through a pretty deep depression for a number of months until I decided, I need to heal. I need to heal and, work myself through this because this isn't healthy. It gets to a point where, obviously, it's like almost like you're grieving the high frequencies and grieving that interaction with your true star family, So I did see UFOs and so, and that was heartwarming for me because I was never able to see UFOs before. And it was, I guess, kind of a confirmation that, okay, there's something different happening. But yeah, it can be very difficult. And I struggled after that with my work. I worked for the local health department in Colorado Springs for quite a few years. And before I had this experience, I was relatively satisfied with my job. I mean, it was matrix, but, whatever, I was making a living. But after my experience, I started seeing through all the illusion and just how toxic everything was. And so I was feeling like I wasn't fitting in anymore. I didn't feel like I fit in with a lot of old friends and people, because all of a sudden I've changed, but everyone else stayed the same, so it's almost like your frequency changes and then you're no longer in alignment with the frequency that's around you, so, and I see this a lot, even with my Akashic clients, they go through this expansive a spiritual awakening, or even a gradual spiritual awakening. And they're finding that, you know what, I don't like my job anymore. I don't like where I live anymore, or I need to change my relationships. Or, so you go through this process of trying to integrate into a reality that is no longer in alignment with who you are now. So it was quite a journey. And I also went through some physical issues. I was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2016 and went through a series of, I think it was almost like I was clearing myself of maybe old karma or old patterns I've been carrying from previous Earth lives. But so I went through that whole process. And then, but now I feel like I'm the healthiest I've ever been. I'm I would say in decent shape for somebody my age, but yeah, it's quite a process. And so you are going to go through that dark night of the soul. You're going to go through that depression or that feeling of disconnectedness, wanting to return to where you came from. And I think a lot of light workers and starseeds experience this, on various levels.
Well, I'm glad you're okay, by the way.
Thank you.
I appreciate your comment that, and of course, everybody has to get the proper medical attention for them, but also having an understanding of the energetics behind a challenge like that. So I'm very much with you there. And at the same time, I'm really looking at so high, but then you had to come down low. Mm-hmm. And I guess it's maybe to find some sort of a level set and to be in this world, but ever sort of looking beyond. And, I called this episode Cosmic Origins. And I mean, part of it is a few things that you mentioned, that you're a galactic historian, for example, and something else you just said, yearning for our star families. So I just thought I would bring up that's what we titled it and ask how that feels.
No, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And it's a good segue into what I do, actually.
Yeah. Please.
So because of my work with the Galactic Records, so I'm one of the few readers out there. I think there's getting more and more of them now, but I know Melissa Fike, she does galactic readings, and there's a few other folks, but for a long time, I was the only person doing galactic Akashic readings. And through my exposure to the records and, through my many clients and also through the work I did on my own, I was starting to get a really good understanding of, okay, what's our true history? Where did our genetics really come from? And it came from quite a few different star systems, so Earth has been seeded by DNA from many different star systems for millions of years. And all that history was hidden from us for millennia. Maybe the Egyptians knew about it, or the Sumerians, or even, the Atlanteans, but for the last few thousands of years, nobody knew about this. And so I kind of got a little indignant about it. Like, why is this being hidden? Why do not the powers that be don't want us to know about our galactic origins? So that caused me to get more into a deep dive of, seeking out this cosmic history, of these different star races, and that have actually influenced our Earth genetics. And they say there's at least 22, but there may be even more. But, these are beings that were visiting Earth, for thousands of, if not millions of years, bringing their DNA from their star systems, and even in a certain extent, mucking around with the human genome. So a lot of scientists don't really have a description or an explanation for why we evolved so rapidly here on Earth. And I believe it's because we had extraterrestrial beings that were coming here that were manipulating the Earth genetics. So we went from Neanderthal to Cro-Magnon, and then from Cro-Magnon to, Homo sapiens. And then we're going to evolve again. I do believe that, so human. So there was several. I would say, just to bring it back to specifics, there was, I would say, several star groups that had the most influence on planet Earth, and I can name them. It's the Lyrans from the Lyra system. The Syrians, they were probably number one. They were located fairly close to Earth. Sirius is only 7 light years away from Earth, or 8 light years. So they've been visiting Earth for a long time. Pleiadians, also Arcturians to a certain extent, and the Andromedans from the Andromeda constellation. And, maybe even races like Orion and Alpha Centauri and the Venusians. I mean, these are all star races that have definitely had an impact on who we are, what our genetics are, and why we are here, So I wish I had more time to go more into the history, but I know we're limited on time, so I'll just leave it at that.
Well, there's so much to know, and we also want people to check out your site and learn more. I mean, this is really, really intriguing, and it makes me, it just pulls me way back from the day-to-day here, and just talking about this, just talking about these different galaxies and the energies that come from with them, and the beings that are there. It just, that possibility is so uplifting for me. I love that.
Yeah, I love it too, and I have to say this information has changed my life. I mean, I think part of the reason why I love to work with folks, I'm not doing personal readings at this time. I'm focusing more on training people to develop these skills for themselves.
Wonderful.
And that's why I kind of emerge into the public arena, because I want to get this more on a mass, consciousness level. But part of the reason why I love doing this work is because I just see people transform their lives with this information, where, they get connected with their star lineage, they get connected with their past lives or with their star families. And they start really, I think, stepping into their authentic selves and start creating transformation within their lives and other people's lives. And it just has this kind of ripple effect. And if I can play a small part in that, then, that gives me great joy, to be able to have the honor to do that.
Amen. So what's it going to be like at Disclosure Fest? Tell us a little bit about what you'll be doing there. And again, for people that are listening and in the LA area for the summer solstice, come and join the Mass Meditation Initiative at Disclosure Fest. So Debbie, what will your workshop be like?
Well, Adrian asked me to share my galactic Akashic secrets with, or how to access them with everybody there. So I'll be doing a 90-minute workshop, and I'll also be hanging out at a booth. I think I'm going to be bringing some star crystal kits to sell, and so if people want to connect through crystals, we'll have some kits for them to check out. But mostly it's just to share the information and the frequency. And I was so excited to be asked to be a part of this, because I really admire the initiatives behind it, that it's a nonprofit and they're using this to help the community in, the greater LA area. So anything I can do to raise the frequency, I'm there. So,
that's so great. Yeah, thank you. It's going to be amazing. I've had a chance to go in past years, and we'll definitely be there this year, Debbie. So I look forward to seeing you. And just in some parting words, any message that you'd like to give our listenership? I mean, this has been, Tony Sweet's been doing this show for over 13 years. We have been connecting people that look to the skies and really wonder at the beyond. And so I myself love to bring in the metaphysical side of things and really understanding frequency, whether it's as a yogi and working it through our vessels, and then how it's projected for a different type of awareness and ideally transformation as needed. So please give us some parting words until we get a chance to see you at Lake Passaic for Disclosure Fest.
Yeah, looking forward to that. So just some parting words is, I I guess it's to start asking questions about who you truly are. And because I get a lot of questions from, folks that ask, am I a starseed? Where am I from? And I think the best answers you can get are within yourself and your connection with your higher self and your guides. But I would say really connect with, who you are, where you came from, and use that information to enhance your life now and to be of service to this planet and, really help us get to that fifth dimensional reality that we all came here to do. So my wish is to see Earth become just a true member of the greater galactic family. And that is what our true destiny is.
Oh, that feels good. Debbie Solaris, thank you so much for talking to us. And again, we look forward to seeing you around solstice time.
Well, thank you for having me. It's been great being here. Thank you, Bonnie.
We'll find you soon. Cheers to all that are listening and watching. This is Truth Be Told Transformation, and our sister show is Truth Be Told with Tony Sweet. And remember to check him out on our YouTube channel, the Club Paranormal, on Fridays at 3 p.m. and join the community and ask questions and see who Tony's talking to on that given week. Robert Hensley on every Monday with new episodes of the Minuteman Report, and there's always different things that he's covering of the moment subjects and books and different releases like that. I'm Bonnie Burkert, and just looking to gratitude for all of you that are listening. We appreciate the likes and the shares. We are just here to spread the light. So until the next time, shine on.